Hello YouTube, my name is Garog and today we are going to take a look at the Q&A with Ian Hezekiah. According to, as you can see already, World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth. I've seen it already and I disagree with like almost every single point of it. Yeah, we're going to take a look at it together, and then I will give you, I will stop the video, I will give you my opinion and so on. So yeah, let's hop right into it.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another World of Warcraft live developer Q&A. My name is Josh Allen, aka Community Manager Lord, joined here once again by game director.
I am a game developer.
Developer
It's a
also,
thing I do.
Yeah. Ian Hezekiah, thanks so much for being here.
Great to be here as always. Yeah, just a few things have happened since we last met.
A couple things.
Yeah, we released a game. It's, celebrating it with matching shirts. We coordinated this. We actually planned this weeks in advance.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's super exciting to see the whole world finally getting a chance to explore Kultiris and Zandalar and just dig into this labor of love from the Warcraft team as a whole over the last 2+ years. And it's the beginning of an awesome journey to come, but really just enjoying seeing everybody actually getting into what we've made.
Yeah, it's been a long road to get here, and the road just keeps on going. So we actually got a lot to talk about here today as well. I know there was a couple things you wanted to mention just right off the bat at the start here before we get into questions.
Actually, we have one just sort of general to sort of catch-all topic. I'm not sure how many class questions we have today, but I know that I've seen a lot of questions and discussion in the community about, hey, you fixed arms mastery, what about my class? Or you did this thing to feral druids to help their AoE, but I don't think you went far enough, or we have other problems in other areas too, or other specs feel like they need attention as well. We're not done. We don't, just because we haven't made a change doesn't mean we think everything is perfect. We don't think things are perfect on that front. But when we actually start getting into sort of holistic spec balancing in the run-up to, mythic rating opening up and higher-level mythic keys and so forth, as well as the PvP season, I think we want a lot more data, and we want to do a broader pass over multiple specs rather than making piecemeal changes one at a time. I think the change we made to Arms Mastery was because it was so drastically out of whack that gear with Mastery on it was virtually worthless to Arms Warriors, and that was a problem we thought we needed to fix in the short term. Same thing with Feral Druids and the AoE they bring to dungeons. Feral Druids aren't supposed to be the kings of AoE. I think, specs have strengths and weaknesses and different areas where they're going to shine, and that's just not a strength of theirs. But it's unacceptable for even an area of weakness to be so far behind the norm that other specs are bringing for a core type of content, like, clearing mobs in a dungeon. And so that's something we needed to address, but we're not done. And so I just wanted to make that crystal clear. We'll have more to say. We're listening to feedback. We're keeping an eye on the tons and tons of data that's coming out of everybody running through dungeons, getting into PvP, and so forth.
So I have to intervene already here. Actually, the point that I'm going to about is a little bit. He has already talked a little bit earlier about it. But basically what he said is that they are still changing classes and stuff like this, and they are not done with it. And yeah, I mean, you have seen the video yourself right now. The issue that I'm having with this is you don't see, sorry for the word, shit in Mythic 0 dungeons. There is no way that you can determine if a class is currently in the right position, DPS wise, tank wise, or heal wise. For the guys who don't know me, I'm a Mythic Raider, so I'm a little bit biased here. Obviously, for the average casual, Mythic 0 can be already quite challenging. And it's okay that it is. I mean, that's why you are just, playing the game casually. There is nothing wrong with this. But from a Mythic Raider kind of view, most of the bosses, by the way, I'm a Frostmatch for the guys that don't know. Most of the bosses currently in Mythic 0 are dead before my Icy Veins runs out. For the guys who don't know, I've already in the background World of Warcraft over there here. And for the guys who don't know, Icy Veins accelerates your spellcasting for 30 seconds, granting 30% haste and preventing damage from delaying your spellcasts, which is basically my big cooldown that I have as a Frost Mage. There are two other ones, the Frozen Orb, which has 1 minute cooldown, and the Combat Storm, which has 30 seconds cooldown. And if I'm fancy in it, I could even go Glacial Spike with, which is not a big cooldown, but basically, I can cast it way more often, obviously, in the time frame of having Icy Veins up or not, and compared to not having it up. So Icy Veins is up for 30 seconds, as you can see, and I just mentioned already that there are bosses that are dead before Icy Veins runs out, or is almost just has ran out like 5 to 10 seconds or something. So basically, there are plenty of fights in Mythics right now. Obviously, you have to have a pre-made group and stuff like this, so you can't have like randoms with like, I don't know, item level 300 or something. You should be like 330 and plus. Most of the guildies I'm with they're like 340 already, and so they are dealing the damage that they are supposed to be. They know their classes and so on. The issue with this is Frost Mage could be like 20, 30, 40, 50% behind currently, but they only have the data for Mythic Plus dungeons, where the bosses actually are not long enough to determine if the Frost Mage is in the right spec. The best example that I can give you is Emerald Nightmare and Shadow Priest. Do I need to say more? I don't know the exact numbers anymore, but weren't they like nerfed the first 2 weeks by like, as I said, don't nail me on the numbers, 30 or 40% because it was so absurd what kind of DPS they do. So, and all the data they have had was the beta data, of course. So, and the dungeon data that they have, but the beta and the dungeon data doesn't represent the stuff that you can do in a, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minute long raid fight. I have no idea how Iron Hesychostas can make this statement that they are looking currently into the classes themselves. As I said, I have literally no clue how he can make this assumption, because they have no relevant data. That's like, I don't know, taking I don't know, a water what is it, testing the water before actually a city, so before all the garbage, sewage and stuff like this is pumped into the river, and say, the water quality is fine, but obviously after the sewage is put in there, then the data is not fine anymore. And that's basically what they're doing. So they're taking data and talking about data that is not important at all, not relevant at all. And yeah, I don't know how you can make this statement, but yeah, let's go on.
And we'll have more to do in the future.
Would it be fair to say that at this stage, because like the expansion's been out for a week and a half at this point,
yeah,
would it be fair to say that at this stage we're mostly just looking for things that are way out of whack that we know that we can pull in line, and then as time goes on, we get more data, we get more looks at people doing
Shadow Priest,
and so on.
Exactly.
Refine it from there.
Exactly. I think.
Sorry.
I would expect, and this is may change, but I think our target would be to have our first significant balance pass come at the end of that first week of September. So at the end of the week, when raids open, when the PvP season begins, before that second week going into Mythic raids. As always, we try to avoid making drastic changes that are going to make guilds feel like they need to change their whole roster or something. But that's really when the end game as a whole comes into its own. I think right now what we're seeing is, I think so we saw the same thing early in Legion too. I recall at the start of Legion, it was Havoc Demon Hunters and Windwalker Monks that were head and shoulders above everybody else, because the game right now is running heroic dungeons. It's running Mythic 0 dungeons once per dungeon per week. And your boss encounters in that are not super long. you're mostly looking to quickly and efficiently clear large chunks of mobs.
See, here's realizing that the data they have right now is irrelevant, and still they are changing the classes. Either they haven't taken the data on the beta into account, and they have opened a couple of raid wings already, so they should have at least some data. I don't know. Look at one of the guys, or most of the people from, I don't know, Method and all those top 10, top 20, top 100 guilds or so. Plenty of those players have actually access, or have had access to the beta. Just take their data from there, and I don't know. I have no clue I just don't understand him.
And that's what the end game is all about. The other types of damage, the other types of situations that we bounce around more holistically, like the 6-minute patchwork fight, or the council fight where it's sustained ranged cleave between multiple targets, those situations just don't exist in the game. And so classes and specs that will shine in those situations aren't seeing that reflected. And similarly, once the dungeon scene moves on into Mythic Keystones, and now you're thinking about meeting the single target DPS check on a tough tyrannical boss, that's a very different world than exists currently, and different classes and specs will get their chance to shine. We want to make sure that we're balancing around that world that we're going to be living in for the next couple of years, not the one that we're only living in for the next 2 weeks.
Makes a lot of sense. Sounds a lot of good. Let's get started on these questions. We're going to come right out of the gate with a big one here. From Lagta, who asked, any plans on curbing back the PvE world mob scaling? They feel like damage sponges even above heroic dungeon item level.
Right, totally
so obviously
right.
We've been seeing a lot of discussion about this over the last couple of days, a few threads popping up on Reddit and so on. What's going on with the world scaling?
Well, so just take off your Heart of Azeroth and put it in the bank, and then everything is fixed. Moving on. Sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of rumor, a lot of speculation about how this works. So, endgame outdoor world scaling, this is something that literally hasn't really changed in 15 months. We rolled this out in Legion, patch 7.2, made some initial adjustments in response to very valid feedback about, the original version of it increased mob damage as your item level went up. That's completely gone. That doesn't change at all. We've also pulled back on how much scaling occurs to begin with. So 2 questions, I guess. First off, why do we do this at all? And it's because the outdoor world, in the structure that we introduced in Legion, that we continue to maintain in Battle for Azeroth, remains relevant for far longer than ever before, and it offers increasing rewards. Players have noticed that as your item level increases...
Wrong. Totally wrong. So he's going to make a point now. Let me actually talk about it afterwards.
As you get more heroic dungeon gear, let's say, World Quest rewards also keep pace with that. And so rather than like discrete difficulty levels like we have in dungeons with normal, heroic, mythic, we want some sense of, the world is a little bit keeping pace with you, but far, far, far slower, because you're still getting better rewards out of it.
Okay, so basically, he's not wrong on the point that he's making. By the way, nice face right now. Sorry. That's going to disturb me. Let me.
Next.
There we go. Now he's opened his eyes and everything's cool again. Now he's creepy looking at me. Or it does. Anyway. But okay, he said, so the point that there's 2 points that I want to address. The first one, he's right. Definitely. The item level is keeping up with us. So for example, if you have a 330 item level, currently, plenty of the rewards is 340. And you could have literally pushed your World Quest rewards on day 1 if you would have done heroics, and then they, instead of, I don't know, the rewards were like 295 or so at the beginning. Once you hit 120, you could have pushed them to like 320 if you would have had level 310 item levels through dungeons and heroics dungeons and stuff, and you could push this. That's right. The part that he's wrong about is that the world stuff or the world quests or the world content that is out there is going to be relevant far longer into the expansion. Okay, for a casual, that might be true. So for a casual, even in 4 months, 5 months or so, world quests will be relevant to you. For people like me, Mythic Raiders, we are already revered with every single faction currently. The only reason I am not with my mage, I'm gonna show you right now here. The only reason I'm not with my mage right now is because that's my alt. So I've decided after like 4 days that the class that I was previously playing, which is my brewmaster, that I don't want to play this anymore. But yeah, my brewmaster is basically revered. No, actually this one is not revered because this is like 200 or something off. Revered, and this one here is honored already. So, and I haven't done a world quest for like 2 or 3 days with my brewmasters, so you would have had, I don't know, like 2 or 3,000 out of 21,000 into Exalted. And so basically, after 1.5 weeks, actually, as I said, I've stopped playing the Brewmaster like 2 or 3 days ago. So basically, by the way, let's take a look at the calendar. So 2 or 3 days ago, let's say it's 3 days ago, because then it's in just 1 week. So within 1 week, I collected all the reputation that I needed. So 12,000. Plus the 6,000 I needed before to go from friendly to honored. So this is 18,000 together then, obviously. So in 1 week more, so in around about the 28th, I will be done, except for Champions of Azeroth, with every single reputation. So the content you are talking about, Mr. Ion Hesikostas, isn't relevant after 2 weeks. As I said, I'm looking at this from a Mythic Raider point of view, but saying that the world stuff that you can do is relevant even further is just a lie. It's just flat out a lie. And yeah, I don't know, because what do you need to do as a Mythic Raider with world quests? You don't need to do the Facebook game anymore. By the way, for the guys who don't know, the Facebook game, what I mean is the war campaign. Here, send your followers. So this year, this is what I call the Facebook game. Isn't relevant anymore. So you need no war resources anymore, except for the research. You don't need gold. If you don't need gold, you don't need the gear anymore, because most of the stuff I'm getting, look at this. So my rings is 340, 345 is the other one. I'm not there. There is no, except for right now for the reputation, but in like 2 weeks there is none. There is no interest of me of doing this specific world quest. Next one here is next to this, and no interest in 2 weeks that I need to do this world quest here anymore. War resources, as I said, only if I want to continue the Facebook game, which I don't. Again, Facebook game, that's one that I'm maybe interested in. So the ones that give Azeroth. So out of the, I don't know, let's take a look on the right hand side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the 10 ones, I might do 4, and only might do them because it depends on how much they give, because I could just do a Mythic Plus most likely and get the same amount, and Mythic Plus is actually fun compared to flying around via flight path and getting there. I don't know, the time that is necessary to go from here to there, and where's the other Azeroth stuff? Let me look it up. Bottom left side. Here, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or something. That's basically the same time I could do a dungeon. Obviously, we have to see how much Azeroth we get in the same time, so it might be actually worth doing those instead, but you get the idea. So there is no interest of a raider to do those things like at all. So out of the 10 quests, I do 4. Maybe. And if the mythic dungeons is actually, I don't know, it gives like 80% in the same time frame that I would do to get the world quest, I would just ignore the 20% of Azeroth, I guess, and just do the mythic, because that's way more fun. Because dungeons are way more fun than doing world quests. So basically, my interest of doing world quests that he says are going to be way more important, way longer, is gone after 2-3 weeks maybe. And as I said, I think that's a lie.